Good morning, afternoon or evening, ladies and gentlemen, Allincrypto here, and welcome back, guys, for what is going to be nothing short of another jam-packed daily market update. And despite retail sentiment out there that I really don't think is warranted, retail are very much on their deathbeds when it comes to the cryptocurrency space, and I don't think that is the reality of the situation for the cryptocurrency market. It's not my opinion that we're going to enter a kind of doom and gloom cycle economically. It's not my opinion that this market is finished. In fact, I think certainly for Bitcoin it's done very well, but for the altcoin sector it's really still to come, and we are on the cusp of that, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be kicking the video off with talking about what BlackRock may be about to do in regards to both Solana and XRP ETFs. We'll of course look at the stablecoin bill that was passed yesterday. I think this was called the Genius Act. And this is essentially another green light in regards to the enabling of stablecoins to propagate the dollar worldwide and also solve some of the colossal debt issue or treasury issues that there are. And the question you want to be asking and answering, and these cryptos that I believe are going to enable this evolution of money, which is stablecoins, literally make up the largest percent of my portfolio. The questions you guys want to be asking is, who's going to play a role in the enabling of the evolution of money, which is the kind of tokenization of dollars? And that's probably one of the biggest use cases. Tether as a company made more money than most of your major banks within the US. And there's such an amazing opportunity there, not to mention all the other amazing opportunities that DLTs are enabling. Yet retail is just pessimistic. And I really want to say this, and I mean it in all seriousness, you don't need to be here. Why be in a space that is tormenting you in the manner that the cryptocurrency space is? This isn't for everyone. This industry isn't for everyone. And then we'll talk about some news, obviously, coming out of the Trump administration, and then finish things off with a little bit of price action and just sort of really relay and reiterate. First of all, the price action that crypto's seeing is just symptomatic of risk broadly and the fears around Donald Trump. And I've said, actually, I am more of a fan of what he's doing economically, and actually think that's going to, I'm a lot more optimistic than I think most people are. And I think if I ask you guys this question right now, why do you think a recession is coming? And I've done this with lots of people. They'll kind of step back and go, actually, I just think one's going to happen. I think Trump's going to push us into one, and there's uncertainty around that. What data are you looking at, though, that sort of indicates that a recession is here? I don't think there is any yet. That's certainly my opinion. So let's get into it all. Let's start things off with an opinion from Nate Garcia. And he says, I'm ready to log a formal prediction. BlackRock will file for both Solana and XRP ETFs. Now, here's the president of ETF Store. I'm not entirely familiar with this. He's the co-founder of ETF Institute, etc., etc. And of course, he's got a crypto podcast where he has some great guests. I think one of the most recent ones was Greg Bell from the HBAR Foundation. We're obviously a big fan of HBAR. It's my largest position in the cryptocurrency space. So he's essentially saying that he believes both Solana and XRP ETFs are going to be filed by BlackRock. Solana could be any day now. Think XRP once lawsuit concludes. The Sunshine Act took place yesterday, the meeting with the SEC. They are going to resolve, and I think it's going to be to XRP's benefit, the XRP case. And actually, why is it that we've seen basically most major financial institutions apply for altcoin ETFs outside of Ethereum, yet we haven't seen BlackRock or your Fidelities or these kind of individuals? That's still to come. They're just waiting for clarity. They don't need to do it just yet. And actually, when you see them do that, just like with the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF, BlackRock doesn't miss when it comes to filing for ETFs. I think out of the 200 and it's got to be 70 or 80 ETFs they've applied for with the SEC. I think it's something like one was only ever rejected. So they've got like a 99% hit rate on this. This is to come. He goes on to say, BlackRock is currently the leader by assets in both Bitcoin and Ethereum. I simply don't see them allowing competitors to come in and launch ETFs on two of the top 5 non-stablecoin crypto assets without any sort of a fight. I also believe BlackRock will file for a crypto index, by the way. And there are 70 plus crypto ETFs still to come. And actually, and I think we're getting more and more confirmation of this. If you look at the role that something like XRP is going to play in evolving money through stablecoins, and we'll look at just yesterday the Genius Act. Why wouldn't BlackRock, if Bitcoin is kind of what they've called digital gold, and they've made sure that narrative was hijacked, and they understand how Bitcoin is kind of evolving, gold hit 3,000 today as well, evolving or becoming a store of value. They also believe in DLT. Why wouldn't they believe in the DLTs that are actually going to enable and look to file ETFs with the DLTs that are actually going to enable the evolution of money? And stablecoins 100% are the evolution of money. Let's dive over to the US Senate Banking Committee. We looked at what the comptroller had to say, Rodney Hood. Let's dive over to what was said yesterday in regards to the Genius Act that's just been passed.
The digital asset community, and more importantly, the American consumers, deserve clarity. For far too long, the absence of a regulatory framework has left consumers vulnerable and businesses in the dark. This uncertainty has also stifled innovation here at home in America. That changes today. The Genius Act is a bipartisan step forward in ensuring stablecoins are safe and reliable tools in the financial system. The Genius Act establishes common sense rules that require stablecoin issuers to maintain reserves backed one-to-one, comply with anti-money laundering laws, and ultimately protect American consumers while promoting the U.S. dollar's strength in the global economy. This is about keeping innovation and opportunity on American soil rather than driving it overseas. We are also taking an action today to end the weaponization of financial regulators.
Do people still not get the fact that stablecoins are literally going to replace money as we know it? Like, is that not being made apparently enough? Is it not literally being said by Scott Bessent, Trump, Brian Brook, everybody who's anybody that has any kind of a clue has literally came out and said, we're going to use stablecoins. Certainly in regards to the US to propagate its dominance globally. And even the crypto czar, David Sachs, says they're actually going to use them to lower interest rates. Specific cryptos are going to enable that in the same way specific companies have enabled the US's dominance technologically through the internet. And that opportunity is insane. I'm kind of fed up now. Okay, guys, I get the kind of the fact that people can't deal with the volatility in the cryptocurrency space. And I get that we go from being ecstatic like we all were in December, January, and then the price sells off. Still, I think when you look at it and you zoom out in a great position, people just can't handle that. You don't need to be here. If you don't see the opportunity in the cryptocurrency space, it's nice knowing you. Move on with your life. Don't put yourself and your family and everybody else through the agony of being an investor in crypto if you can't handle it. And that is a genuine message that I think people need to understand, because for me, all I see is opportunity here. And yet, and I'm talking to actually a very small percentage of people that watch this channel, there's mass negativity around it and fear and panic and this and that and the other. And I think when you analyze that and you break it down, say, okay, why are you fearful? What's wrong? Oh, well, the price has gone down. Okay, well, that's called markets. Anyway, let's continue. The opportunities with stablecoins and the cryptos that are going to enable those stablecoins, I think, is a massive one. Let's talk about another clip here, and then we're going to continue.
I believe that stablecoins in particular give us a real opportunity to maintain dollar dominance across the globe. And we've talked a little bit about use cases, and as a policymaker in general, I might not be concerned about the way that someone in Mexico, Panama, Peru, Nigeria, or another location is engaged in transactions. But what we actually see is when Stripe has a neobank in Mexico, or Bridge is used to distribute payments to workers across Latin America, that actually strengthens the US dollar. Would you agree? Can you comment on that briefly?
Yes, I think it strengthens the U.S. in two ways. One, many of the companies engaged in the activity you're describing are themselves American businesses, and so they become stronger. But secondly, and I think this is what your question is getting at, it increases dollar demand, increases the demand for U.S. treasuries, and it in turn lowers U.S. borrowing costs.
Do I need to say anything else? Let's wrap things up now, guys, because there's huge opportunities here. I think we've sort of stressed that, and I think BlackRock are not going to miss out on this. They're going to enable a lot of ETFs, and once that happens, you watch the market reaction. This market will turn around on a dime, and everyone will go back to being happy, and then eventually we'll have another pullback, and then you'll see this depression. And for somebody like me, it just gets old and boring. In regards to, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna really upset some people. I never understood how people could fall for lies and trickery and just believe in a total fabrication of reality. I never understood how, as a human being, you could essentially get tricked in the manner that a lot of the world currently is, until I started making content and seeing reactions to price action, because you can actually see how people get suckered into short-term things and believe something that only with enough time and revelation kind of turns out to not be the case. Anyway, let's talk about this. This is from Bitcoin Archive. This is from Decrypt. Trump admin wants to acquire as much Bitcoin as possible. White House. The White House official told a room of crypto industry leaders this week that there should be no limits to the size of the US government's Treasury Reserve, but we've already spoken about the restrictions that are going to be placed on that. Talking about price action. Is this a bearish chart? How the hell anyone can say this is the top of the market is entirely beyond me. And when the price goes down, people start to feed into that. Don't understand the broader trajectory. This is still in an uptrend. We've got a confluence of technical targets ahead of us. The cryptocurrency space is literally just selling off because the S&P 500 is. And we've looked at the S&P 500 and the fact that it's had multiple of these kind of pullbacks, some even greater, since we got back into market 2023. And each and every time, the same ding-dongs have shown up. The same ding-dongs have been wrong. And they're going to be wrong again today. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it from me. Major bullish things are happening. And I think that's what people should be focusing on right now. What the undertones are, not what short-term price action is doing. That's it from me, guys. I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks for watching. See you soon.